Going on, everybody? It's Coach Jan here, and we are at Tai Chi to the People. And welcome, 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 welcome. Of course, we do this every week. And today, I was actually watching this wonderful Elon Musk, uh, uh, a future worth of getting excited about video. So I highly recommend checking that out. Just really, really inspiring stuff that he's talking about on there. For the future of the world. So, with that being said, Tai Chi to the People is presented by Justice for Hire. Justice for Hire is a show that I am producing with a global community, and you can join the cast. Anyone can join the cast. Anyone can join the cast right from their phone at justiceforhire.app. You can learn. You can become a hero or a villain in the cast, or a client that hires heroes and villains. So it's a pretty it's essentially groundbreaking. No one's ever done it before, and it's the first show of our company, Real World, REELWURLD, because you're in it, and that is completely focused on making movies and shows with communities. So if you want to join our first show, especially if you're a martial artist, it's an action-heavy show. When I say heavy, I mean like thematically focused on action. It was really, really fun stuff. Really fun community. Really sweet, creative people. So I just highly recommend becoming a part of it. And I'm inspired every day by the great folks that have come together on this project. So check us out, justiceforhire.com, justiceforhire.app. You can invest and own a part of the company, Real World, that's producing Justice for Hire on wefunder.com/REELWURLD/Real World. And you can learn about what it means to be doing a community round. So essentially, like, anybody can own a part of our company the same way anyone can join the cast. And it's a huge opportunity because it's a huge market. And where we are right now in culture with film and television, it's really, really interesting. It's essentially the Wild West. And it is closer to the 1910s and 1920s. Where we are now, it's not the 1990s anymore. And community-based filmmaking is the future. So for us to be the world's first social film studio is a huge deal. So we'd love for you to join us and become part of this historical moment and build a company that's really helping to shape the future of film and TV. So that being said, I love Tai Chi and I love sharing Tai Chi. I am the former captain and coach of the U.S. Tai Chi push hands team. And you can always find out more about me on janstaichi.com. And of course, I've launched a Patreon to support videos like this and even more detailed Tai Chi videos. So, I got my first patron this past week. I haven't even officially launched it yet. It's just put it online. And so I got my first patron this week. So thanks so much, Sam. And I want to grow that as well, because thematically, whether it's Justice for Hire or Real World or Tai Chi, it's all Tai Chi to me. It's all building bridges. The thing for me about Tai Chi, but really about living, is building bridges from the things that from wisdom to practicality. And there are so many things that we enjoy every day that have been made practical in our lives, like electricity, that we don't necessarily need to go and set up a grid ourselves or know exactly how the light switch works and all these other things. But there's a really practical use for it in our daily lives. And I think Tai Chi is one of those things. I think cinema is one of those things. And how can we start using cinema to positively affect our lives? That's why I started Real World. How can we use heroism to positively affect our lives? That's why I'm producing Justice for Hire. How can we use Tai Chi to make our body, mind, spirit connection more dynamic and interact with our entire world, starting with ourselves, in a more optimized way? Hence Tai Chi to the People. So let's get to it. And I'm drinking this tea not to bite off. This is kind of a shout out to Hybrid Calisthenics. If you don't follow Hybrid Calisthenics on Instagram, I highly recommend him. He also practices Tai Chi. Just a really smooth, like, really, really cool guy, doing a lot of body weight exercises. Again, that's Hybrid Calisthenics. But my girlfriend made me this tea so that I can relax a little bit more, because I've been working very, very intensely, not resting a lot. Hence, even going to the World Series of Tai Chi push hands with hardly any sleep and not necessarily on a great diet. But still was an amazing and historic event. So I'm gonna shoot this tee. And let's do it. And my mom is in town too. She came for my birthday a week and a half ago. So this is her second to last day. We're gonna finish watching Batman. It's gonna be great. So today we're gonna work on some fun stuff. And I ran a poll this past week, and the poll was about what you guys want to see. And specifically the poll was on my Tai Chi channel, because this video lives on both the Justice for Hire channel and on my Coach Jan's Tai Chi, Sports Tai Chi Push Hands channel. I am most interested in, help my mom over here. Hold on. So I am most interested in sharing detailed Tai Chi push hands videos, so that people understand that there is a way for us to share push hands that is not simply, and I simply has quotation marks around it, but not simply based on having the sensitivity to touch. The touch of push hand, the sensitivity, the movement is so important. As a matter of fact, maybe my mom will join me to take. No, I can't do this right now because of the noise.
Join you to what?
I'm live right now on.
Sorry.
If you want to do some push hands with me, show.
I'm not right this moment.
Okay.
I'm exhausted.
She's wonderful.
I just don't hi guys. I
My mom's
just
saying
carried a
hi.
bunch of stuff up.
So, and my mom, I grew up doing, watching my mom and my dad do push hands. So push hands is so important. The sensitivity you develop is phenomenal. And in fact, there's what I call overt push hands, where you see these really big circles, and I don't do any of that. I do, when I do the drills, the flow drills, as they would call it in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the flow drills that help me become good enough to be recruited by Josh Waitskin onto the US Tai Chi push hands team. Those flow drills, I were always very precise, very small, and very sharp. And all of them came from the Wu style of Tai Chi push hands. I was never into Yang style push hands. That's not to take away from any Yang stylists out there, but I was never into the Yang style flow drills. However, the Yang style competitive, let me not call it Yang style competitive, Grandmaster William C.C. Chen's ecosystem was phenomenal for push hands. And of course, they're all reverse breathing Yang stylists over there. So that being said, the poll is all about you guys wanting to see Tai Chi applied to other martial arts. And that 67% of you said that you want to see that. 19% of you said that you want to see more detailed push hands videos. Of course, I want to make more detailed push hands videos, but let's start out with other martial arts. I grew up in Kung Fu and Tai Chi, but I trained with John Machado. John Machado, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, is a mentor and dear friend of mine. And I fought Sancho from the Tai Lab. Beijing coach, renowned Beijing coach, and I was on his New York International fight team, his Sancho team. I fought his pro team, Beijing team, when I was 18 and 19, and it's terrifying, really terrifying. I mean that because it's not necessarily the most supportive ecosystem, but it was a great experience. And I was under Captain Nobel G. Bell, who you may know as the Black Taoist. So I learned a lot of different, and I've trained boxing, Muay Thai, Sanda, aspects of wrestling. I've trained judo, Greco-Roman, etc. So all these martial arts are simply martial art, and Tai Chi can offer us an amazing approach. I consider Tai Chi an approach rather than a style, because if someone tells you shadow fist, oh, you cover the fist and shadow fist and it works. I mean, if you ever watch Wu Dong Yi on that rooftop fight throwing the shadow fist, it's not very dynamic, you know? So just because you do Tai Chi and you have all this beautiful self-awareness and sensitivity and great circulation, etc., doesn't mean you understand the science of angles and timing and how to use rhythm against an opponent and to understand the thinking of an opponent and to play push hands with an opponent's mind. All high-level martial artists have the capability of doing aspects of this. So what I'd like to show today and really start embarking on today, and I think the last few weeks, if you watch my last few videos, I've started doing more of this stuff. I'm talking a lot right now, but tomorrow you'll actually see my hip video on hip mechanics, hip toss mechanics, hip softening mechanics, etc., to help you in judo, swaijiao, BJJ, push hands for throwing. But today I want to focus on, we're going to go high, mid, low. We're going to do high, mid, low exercises for practical martial arts. And when I say practical martial arts, I don't mean street fighter. Well, I'm not trying to teach you I'm not going to demonstrate having a guy stand still and say, if you hit him like this, it's not going to work. So I'm just going to show you how to adapt the Tai Chi mechanic to a high attack, a mid attack, and a low attack. And I'm sure most of you can already do this on your own if you are at all trained in Tai Chi. But I will add a little bit of the thinking of rhythm, of timing, of angle. And that's what we're going to do now. So let's talk about stepping off and hooking. Stepping off and hooking is one of the most interesting things for me. As a matter of fact, the first round that I won in my first tournament, which was the Kung Fu Strike Challenge, which got me on to the Li Tai Lang. I won my spot on Li Tai Lang's fight team through this tournament. I remember my first match was against a kid or a young man who was talking about his strategy to fight me going into the next match. And his strategy, which I completely listened to and he didn't actually follow through on, he said, yeah, I know what my strategy is. And he didn't know he was going to fight me. He was just talking about it with his buddy. He's like, when the opponent goes straight, I'm going to do a circle. And when they do a circle, I'm going to come straight. And I'm like, okay, well, hold on, that's a great strategy. I'll do that. This is before I knew too much about strategy. I was a Tai Chi guy and Shaolin Kung Fu guy going into my first fight, a Sancho fight. So essentially, we all know jab. And I've done many videos on reverse breathing Tai Chi mechanics for the jab, inhaling, creating the shape, exhaling down. So what I'd like to talk about is doing a step off and hook. And there's two different types of stepping off. Well, there's actually many different types. But one is stepping off in the direction of on the same side of the arm. And the other one is stepping off on the other side of the arm. And there's a difference. There's actually, I think, a Russian boxer, and I forgot his name, but I found out about him a few years ago. And one of the most interesting things that I saw him doing, and I think this is part of why he was on YouTube, you'll see a bunch of videos about this guy. But essentially what he would do is he would throw a hook and then step to the other side so that the opponent is defending here and get to the other side and strike here. And I think that's really, really interesting. That was a concept that honestly was not something that I had really encountered before. No one had told me in all my years of training and fighting, etc., to essentially throw the hook and step off in the opposite way. I was pretty much always stepping off and throwing the hook and using the hook either to set up a leg kick or set up a strike here or another strike here, or even using the hook to push my opponent in the direction that I want them and then set up the next strike. But I never thought of it as set the hook, maybe jab, step off, throw the hook here. And you throw it wide so the opponent really sees and expects it coming here. And you step off and boom, come there. That to me is really, really interesting. So let's focus on stepping off to the same side, and then we're going to focus on stepping off to the opposite side. Let's bring Tai Chi mechanics into this. Let's do 2 uplifting heavens. Exhaling down. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. And if you're unfamiliar with the Tai Chi mechanics, there's all the stuff that has to happen in my body for me to achieve it. Essentially that means relaxing. It means alignment. It means me having this imaginary string lifting me from the top of the head, my tailbone dropping straight down, my vertebrae, as I feel like I'm being lifted, the vertebrae extending, or should I say getting farther and farther apart, even slightly. My hips should feel like a bowl of water. My weight shifts to my heels. I soften the knees. My toes remain on the ground so I don't flip my toes up, my knees stay down. Slight bend here. My organs are completely relaxed, so I soften the muscles and I bring my mind even deeper into the organs so they all feel like they're naturally sinking, sagging, hanging. If you want to add some other ideas that I'm starting to experiment with now, it's the concept of a gently floating heart. Not sticking out the chest, but almost like a yoga lift of the collarbone, but more centered in the heart space. Very gentle, slight lift. And the shoulders soft and downward, but going down and back, not pulling back, but favoring back the same way we're favoring the weight on the heels. You can even add a drop in the shoulder blades straight down, meaning that my attention, I have very clear intent with my attention to drop the shoulder blades, to have them feel like they're being pulled by gravity down my back, down to the ground. All these little things help the posture. My mouth is closed, the tongue is on the ceiling of the mouth, and I cannot stress enough the importance of breathwork visualization. When you inhale into your lower dantian, that's the Tai Chi main area of focus. Of the three dantians, the dantians are of the 7 chakras, which you might have heard from Indian culture. 7 chakras, well, the dantian are 3 of those chakras. The lower dantian is the 2nd chakra, essentially 3 finger lengths below the belly button, but not out here in the center, in here. But you can count down here and then find that space which connects to that imaginary line. That imaginary line, you inhale, use the belly to pump the breath into that area and give the sensation of breathing a color as it gathers in the belly. I recommend an orange color gathering in the belly, and push it down the arms to the palms and fingertips. Special attention on the middle finger of each hand. This is called Gilded pillar. 3 breaths here. If you want to add one more alignment concept, push through the heels very gently to the base of the skull to create distance. Every idea I share stacks on top of the other one, meaning that you don't do one thing or the other. You do one thing and then you add the other, and you keep doing the other thing. To be able to accomplish that, you have to be expanding your awareness and expanding your ability to stack items or concepts on top of each other. Tai Chi, in my experience, is a massive component of it is multiple layers of visual infrastructure. So when you have all these different things happening all at once because you've expanded your awareness, and you can allow that, and it takes time, it may not happen right away. I may have said 20 things just now, one of them may work, or 3 of them may work for you right now in your current state, or you might be far more advanced than anything I just said, and you're already doing all those things and then some, and that's awesome. So now let's focus on taking all those concepts and bringing it into our boxing stance or our fighting stance. So again, I'm a sport fighter, and I would even say more so just like martial sports competitor. I don't think about fighting much. I don't want to hurt people per se. I don't think it's a good idea to pre-visualize violence. I think that attracts it to you. All my friends that do that, they fight all the time, and I don't hang out with them at nighttime because I don't want to live like that. But so that being said, you should also be very, very practical and be ready for real impact and et cetera. And you should be strong enough for it. So part of that, from my experience, is training with great stance. And so I, versus other folks, I don't keep my foot in on my front stance. Some people might, and of course, there's tons of, as you can see, I already can see myself in the camera. Notice how I protected my groin a little bit just by bringing my front foot in about 15 degrees or so. Not even 45 degrees to the corner. Like I'm just bringing it a little bit. I'm protecting my groin a little bit more. Versus forward and having that. I'm much more open here. But I do this all the time. This is actually how I spar, how I fight. I keep my front foot forward because it's more like how I play push hands. And I bring my push hands game into my fight game. So That being said, if you know a front stance, a sport fighting front stance, pick the one that's best for you. And if you do not know one, I offer this one to you, which is essentially a little bit different than our traditional push hand stance. Our push hand stance, 70% of the way forward, the back knee drops, the back hip drops into the front groin. We get a little wind up. Now that wind up is super important, and you're going to use this, you're going to drop back into this anytime you get into, well, actually lots of times, not just in terms of grappling, but if you get close and boom, boom, then you'll start, if you tie up with an opponent, you're body to body, maybe boxing, you tie up with them, now you're in 50-50 clinch, and now you're cycling between this drop and this spiraling down and coming up. Makes total sense, especially if you feel it. That being said, when you're not there, you're going to do the opposite. Again, from my experience, I spiral out. I start this way. I spiral, winding the hip up slightly. So I might be here playing. Some people play like this. I'll play like this, turn a little bit forward. I have my elbows my shoulders very, very soft. Some people pick them up. I do my best not to, because that's essentially un-tai chi in my training, my upbringing. Meaning that the second I start doing this, while it does protect me and my face, which you don't want to get knocked out, get your chin tapped, I would rather pop up to protect myself rather than stiffen up and just hold the entire time, because that's going to make my center of gravity rise. Some might call it the chi rising, but really what it is the attention. Too much tension locks the attention in particular areas. So if I stay like this, I'm locked up here, I'm lighter on my feet. If I stay down here, I feel more easily grounded in my lower down chin area. So from this little stance, you have your little bounce. I keep my back heel off the ground, I can always clamp it in. That means that the 3 nails that I've talked about in previous videos, which are of course Grandmaster William C.Z. Chen's concepts, I mean, the back heel as the anchor, I learned in Wu style as well. So that anchor point, boom, when it connects to the ground, as if that heel locks into the ground. And that's an idea. The idea you train with all these other Tai Chi exercises, you train that little clamping. That means that if I'm on both of my balls of my feet, and tons of time, Chen Tuisho, the 16-time Tai Chi push hands world champion for the Tai Chi World Cup, you'll see him play on the balls of his feet. He's playing push hands on the balls of his feet, and all of a sudden clamp down. He'll clamp down, boom, push somebody up, clamp back down. And the US Tai Chi push hands team, we adapted that from him heavily as well, because it's so important to be able to go up and clamp yourself back down. And it's not just the hip swinging and bringing you back, it's the heels. And if you want to do an exercise for that, you can do jolting from the 8 brocade. And I have many detailed videos of the 8 brocade, so you can check that out. So getting back to the focus of our step off and hook, we're here, we have one heel up. We're a little bit wound up, meaning we're twisted and wound up in the other direction. Before you throw that hook, you may want to set up the hook, meaning that you throw a jab. Notice that my jab from here, since we're wound up, comes up and out. That up and out, and it's all motivated by my breathing. I'm inhaling, pressing the big toe of my foot in, inhaling, expanding my jab out. I can also exhale. Some people might do this. I don't throw that kind of jab often intentionally. That's more of a last resort jab for me. I'd rather do these, and I practice those. So inhaling, throw it up, forward, and then we can clamp in as if we're doing our push hand. Remember, we did our back hip falling to the front groin. So throw the jab, and you can clamp into that front, and now you can throw your long hook. This is a long hook that I'm doing. You can throw short hooks as well, but it really depends on the distance. If I'm playing with a jab at this distance, I would have to step in to do a shorter hook. But since I'm going to do the longer hook, I'm going to stay at the same punching distance meaning I'm going to do the jab, and then I'm going to step off and punch. So now we're finally getting into the technique. Inhale, reverse breathing Tai Chi. Remember, reverse breathing Tai Chi is going to spin. You don't have to do reverse breathing. You can do regular breathing. If you're doing this with me, I recommend one or the other. Meaning that if you exhale and push the breath, excuse me. If you exhale and push when you exhale, if you're exhaling for the strike, push the color from the belly. You've inhaled, gathered color in the belly, exhale, push it out the arm through the palms and fingertips, through these two knuckles. If you are inhaling, act like these two knuckles and the fingers themselves are vacuums. There's hoses pulling the color into the belly, inflating the tricep. So if you exhale, push through, and if you inhale, the knuckles are as if they're vacuuming up the air, and the tricep inflates. And you are inflating this shape, and the shape is solid at the end. So there are two different mechanics, and two very different sensations in the body, and your opponent will feel them both differently. So that being said, I'm going to focus on reverse breathing Tai Chi. If you want to see a video on that and some boxing, I have those videos online. You can see them now. So inhaling up, one, and here we're winding up to throw the other jab. Notice that this could be a jab cross hook. We could totally do jab cross hook, but we're not going to do that today. We're going to focus on one side and the one technique that we really want to drill down on for the high. We're doing high, mid, and low today. So inhale up, exhaling down, winding up a little bit. Inhaling, I'm doing a long hook. I'm going to bend down a little bit so you can see how long this hook is. Now, my jab would be here. Notice for me, my jab, I keep my arm bent for the jab. I don't straighten my arm out at all. Anytime when I've done that in the past, I've hyperextended my arm, it sucks. So I don't recommend doing it. So I throw if I'm throwing an angled hook, I'm bending over just so you can see the angled long hook. Coming a little closer so you can see that these two knuckles are still making contact with the chin or the temple or somewhere in the head, face, nose, etc. And you want to aim for the buttons, the chin, the temple. So inhaling up, exhale, clamp down, inhale, boom. So this should feel like you're pouring tea for somebody. Again, we're doing reverse breathing Tai Chi mechanics adapted to boxing. So the big toes on my front leg is always like a button, meaning that it's pressing into the ground when I shift the weight. In fact, I'm going to take the camera and bring it down so you can see what I mean by that. So here's my foot. When I have my stance, I'm in my front stance, notice that my back heel is up. Back heel is up, front leg here. And now when I throw the jab, look at that little bounce on my front leg. Right there. And pay attention to the toe. I'll get a little closer. Pay attention to the big toe. Right here. So here, I'm on the ball of my foot. I shift to the big toe. Now you can see my back leg is adjusting as well. The entire movement is cascading up my body. The entire movement is cascading up my body. So I'm going to connect that in a moment. I'll lift the camera back up, but here we go again. So inhaling up, exhaling down. Jab goes out, comes back. Jab goes out, comes back. Jab goes out, comes back. So that big toe, I'm shifting from the ball of my foot to the big toe so that you can feel the button press. So I can feel it. That button press helps me to sink in to a more specific area of my foot. And one of the values of that is being able to recognize that your balance is not, you're not balanced on your feet. You're balanced on very particular sections of your feet. And you want to have mastery on choosing which section to utilize when. So my heel is best for me being passive and strong, meaning that I'm on my heel and I don't necessarily need to deal with someone else's pressure too intensely. If I'm on my heels, like I'm in my my half horse stance in Tai Chi, doing Neigong, etc. If I play my Tai Chi from my heels, I can easily be pushed off my heels, meaning that my toes are going to flip up because my weight is mostly in the back, and I flip back. So if someone's playing on their heels, they get pushed back. That's okay, but it's important to know that that's what happens if you only play on your heels. I used to only play on my heels because I was trained to emphasize heels when I was only studying Wu style. But then as I trained with Josh, I started getting a more dynamic understanding of all the different positions on a single foot. So the ball of the foot, obviously, if you're a boxer, you may talk about that a lot. Oh, ball of the foot, you're on the balls of your feet, you're on the balls of your feet. Okay, that's great. So you're on the balls of your feet, and then you strike. But what happens when you go to your toes? So this big toe emphasis, inhaling, pressing into the big toe here, is going to give you that little extra understanding of not only the weight distribution, but also controlling direction. Grandmaster William C.C. Chen always talk about the toes as the direction. So the heel, he would define of the 3 nails, the heel is the anchor, the ball of the foot is the energy, and the toe directs that energy. So I want my punch going forward. I have my toe going forward, almost as if I'm about to shift my weight on it to walk, to take my next step. So rather than taking a step, I take a punch, boom. It's as if I'm walking it forward. So big toe, inhaling up, walking it forward, creating this beautiful shape, structure. Here, my other hand is guarding my temple. And then exhale, coming down, still guarding the temple, inhaling like I'm pouring tea, throwing the hook. So now we're going to start stepping off. Actually, first let's do that 5 times. Inhale up, down, inhale around, reset, inhale up, jab, down, coiling, inhale over, hook, long hook, reset, inhale up, I'll do it from an angle, down, coiling, inhale, hook, reset, inhale up, jab, exhale down, coil, inhale, long hook, reset, inhale up, jab, exhale down, inhale, long hook, reset. Okay, so now let's do the step off. The step off, if you are a Tai Chi stylist or any type of stylist, it's really, really interesting because I watch a lot of boxing trainers that are working with kids, especially training folks who are new to boxing. And I really look at the footwork, and there's some amazing stuff in the footwork. But I want to emphasize detail, and that's not to say that these folks that I'm watching aren't detailed. What I want to emphasize is that the detail of the specific parts of the foot that we're moving on to, etc. I would love to do more of their footwork myself when I have more time, and then start bringing that and adapting even more of that to my Tai Chi experience, or bringing my Tai Chi experience into that. So for this, let's start with that idea. Inhaling like I'm walking forward, throwing the jab, and now. You want to push?
Yeah, just for a minute to show them.
Okay, my mom wants to show you guys some pushing.
Okay.
So, and then I'll do that.
Mom's a little bit out of it for a while.
Okay, so this is a huge deal. I've never ever had my mom doing it, so I'm very grateful. Okay, so.
Okay, I almost forgot all these things.
Okay, so and this will be helpful too. If you're a boxer and you're having up here, my mom and I are about to do single-handed push hands, meaning this is often the first game that you might play, you push hands, but if you're boxing, you see you have the little clamp here. You can ride someone's wrists, you can ride someone's jab. She might jab my face, I stick to her hand as she goes back, I throw my little jab out. So, but we're gonna just do some gentle, soft pushing here. My mom even if she hasn't done it for a while, she always really maintains her softness. Or should I say her stickiness? And stickiness in Tai Chi means the ability to follow the opponent. And start from here. You want to switch sides? And here.
Good.
Okay.
I just, walking.
Let's roll back, stop, and throw back. Beautiful. And when we press, we're trying to think about moving. Yes. Try to move my whole body through the arm. And remember to breathe through it. Exhale. You can exhale, almost like you're going to sleep on it. When you do that push, the push is like you're falling asleep on it.
Oh,
You okay? So really interesting concept here too, for those who might be, we just talked about.
Hi, guys.
for this concept, I was just telling her, push like you're going to sleep on it. And that's different than energizing, inhaling, and doing this reverse breathing punch. It's actually the complete opposite. The reverse breathing punch is like you're waking up versus the going to sleep drop, exhaling down. And you can do, and oftentimes you want to mix up both of them, meaning that you want to do you want to inhale, come up, exhale, drop down like going to sleep. Inhale, come up, exhale, inhale, exhale. And you might inhale, exhale. So you might, that's a 2-stage inhalation, 2-stage exhalation. You can do a 4-stage inhalation, etc. All these things are really, really important to recognize that there's not just one way. You want to combine based on the situation you're in, the breath work, the visualization, all those mechanics.
I'm gonna be careful with this elbow. I broke it once.
You want to switch?
No, I like it.
Okay.
Just gotta be gentle.
Yeah, slow it down. Slow down and really think about taking more space when you press it. Yeah, taking more of my space. I mean, going to stimulate and press me. Beautiful. And stay connected. And then as I press you back, soften, release, and then press. Beautiful. Beautiful. I haven't done like push hands like this in a while too, so this is really great for me.
Okay, I think I'm gonna stop.
Okay, our 2 uplifting hands, stretch yourself out. Gentle.
Bye, guys.
First time ever having my mom on my Tai Chi videos at all. She normally avoids the camera like this, so you can't see her. So,
Grandma's cooking, mom's cooking.
Yeah. Grandma. My son's not here today, over here more. All right, so stepping off. Ooh, inhaling up, exhale. And now, so I was talking about all these boxing instructors, et cetera, that I'm watching, and how they do the step offs, how they switch the feet, et cetera. There's always some dynamic stuff. So if I'm doing I'm doing a little bit of a pulse, meaning that I am pulsing. I'm gonna angle this down. I am pulsing. I'm walking my punch forward, that first jab, exhaling, and now my weight bounces. As it comes down, it bounces back here. It bounces to this foot and this hip. So I hit, bounce, and look at now my weight, I'm pushing off of this foot. I'm starting to coil into this back hip just for a moment so I can step off. So coiling, and when I say pulse, in Tai Chi, especially, oftentimes what we'll do is we'll do a pulse, meaning we'll step off, we'll shift the weight just for a moment to readjust the front foot. Meaning, sometimes you'll see people do both heel toe kind of switching. We did a lot in Taiwan. My challenge with the heel toe switching is that sometimes people will just switch with the weight on their leg already, which essentially grinds the kneecap. So you want to be cautious of grinding. You can get really into shifting and turning your weight with your, turning the feet with the weight still going down the leg, which is not really that good for the joint. So I recommend throwing the punch and doing this little pulse. It's less overt than this. It happens in a fraction of a second. And we did the jab, dropping down. Notice that I've already coiled here. I can feel the pressure of the ball of my foot. And I'm about to push into the big toe of my back leg so I can step. And that step is going to step, and I'm going to do my best to keep my toes pointed at the center line of my opponent the entire time. So from the front, I throw my jab. My jab is out, and I coil back in as we were doing. You see the back foot? My weight's in the back foot now, and I'm going to step. Look at how my toe is now still pointed at my imaginary opponent, who should essentially be here, so I can throw that hook. So let's do that again. I have my jab, inhale, here, dropping down, step out, boom. I just did the step off. And notice that when I step off, I readjust my stance to be, once again, my fighting stance. So wherever I step off to, I readjust my stance. And if you are unfamiliar with this exercise that I'm doing, and the reverse of it, if I want to go right, I step with my right. If I want to go left, I step with my left. So just basic boxing footwork. It's very rare you'll see me cross over. That's not to say it doesn't happen, but sometimes it needs to happen, but it's very rare where you see this. I don't do that kind of stuff. But let's do it again. Inhaling up, exhale up to the back foot. Feel that weight. Step. Inhale again. Pouring the teeth. Reset. Inhale, jab. Exhaling down. Feel the weight going to the back foot. And step. Turning the foot toward the opponent, the imaginary opponent. Inhale, launching. Because you can feel when you step, you're really wound up. When you step, boom, you're really wound up. You step and you're more wound up in this leg and you boom, launch it out. So again, inhaling up, exhale to the back leg. Step on the angle. Look how much more wound up I am. Inhale, throwing the hook. Again, jab, exhaling, going to sleep. Step on the angle, inhale, throwing the hook. Now, let's do the other side, meaning we talked about this fighter who throws hooks and steps off to the opposite side of the hook he's throwing. So he's essentially, the opponent is blocking and then getting hit on the other side. So and then he'll double it up, meaning that he'll throw the hook, he'll throw a jab, get you to cover, throw the hook, step around, hit, throw another hook, step around, hit, body shot, boom, step around, boom, boom, boom. He might throw another body shot, step around. So he'll keep doing the same kind of thing over and over again just to confuse the opponent of not knowing where the hit's going to come from. And then, of course, switch it up and step with it, boom, step with it. So always playing with the pattern. Of course, your power, how hard you're hitting the opponent, etc., also matters as well. It's not just about them getting hit, them feeling like they don't want to get hit anymore, making them cover up anymore. So let's do this again, but this time step to the other way. Inhaling up, forward, exhaling down. And now, since I want to go right, I step with my right. But as I step with my right, boom, look at that, right here. So that beautiful moment, I love this moment. Inhaling up, exhaling down. And you can always make this little exhale down feel like it's going to be another strike. Sometimes you want to make the opponent, you want to fake them out. And they may think that this is going to be a strike. And so depending on how you whip the shoulders from the waist, etc., I recommend from the waist. Some people may not think down here when it comes to that moment, but I do recommend keeping the lower down 10, the focus there, whipping the breath work through the shoulder. If you want to think that as if it's going to be a cross, so it could be a cross, but I'm not going to do the cross. I'm going to jab up, exhaling down, step, boom, and throw that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful hook. Turning a little bit so you can see, turning a little bit so you can see. Look at all this space. My opponent's right around here. So I'm throwing the hook right to the head. And now I'm going to step across fully. So inhaling, down, step, and then now across. And you can exhale across if you want. So let's inhale, exhale, inhale, short cross, exhale. Throw like a little bomb. Boom, boom. Okay, so inhaling, exhale, step, inhale, and bring the other foot back, exhale. So that's a little stagger step. And so find the footwork that works best for you, but I'll be more precise in how I'm articulating it here. Inhaling up, exhaling down, and then step, shifting the weight as you inhale. As you feel the weight shift, ball of foot, big toe, left hand comes out, you're pouring the tea again. And now you can, if you want, exhale as you bring the one foot closer. And now this foot closer, your opponent's here. So somehow you're going to have to get back to facing them fully. And you may want to throw this side over. There's many, many different options here. So I don't want to make it sound like there's only one way to reposition yourself. You could, boom, boom, here. You could totally do that. I want to keep this in the orthodox, or if you're playing southpaw, whichever one you're playing with, I want to keep it in that with that stance forwards, just for the purpose of this exercise. So inhaling up, jab, exhaling down, stepping across, inhaling up, throwing the hook on the ankle. Let's bring that back leg forward and point it toward the opponent. So look how my toe is facing this way here. My opponent's right here, it's facing that way. I have the jab here, the opponent's still covering from that jab, and now I'm going to use this closed distance moment to push my hand into their head and push my leg back. So I throw the jab and I push from here to push this out. So I counterbalance myself, throwing the fist and the foot. And of course, the entire time we're doing this, to truly bring Tai Chi mechanics into it, we have to have the breath work and visualization mixed with the body mechanics. Otherwise, we're not really doing the Tai Chi. And that's not to say that that's all the Tai Chi is, but it's a major component of it. And it's very valuable. So inhaling up, covering the head, jabs coming out. Let's actually do it from here. Exhaling down, I'm going to step and inhale, throwing that hook wide. And I'm going to exhale, bringing my hand in. Now look how I'm whipping my waist. My foot is retracting, pulling from where my back foot is coming back in, facing the opponent. And my back hand is pushing out as my right foot, as the corresponding leg steps back. Exhale. And then you're essentially set up. If you throw it short, you're set up for, if you need to throw it short, meaning that you're closer range, because if you've stepped on this angle, you're probably closer to your opponent now than you were prior. You threw a jab, you threw a long cross, and then, or it's not as long as the first cross first hook we threw. So it might be shorter, and then you might be in short to mid-range hand striking distance versus long range, which is a jab, mid-range and close range striking distance. So if you are, you push and get your bearings and start throwing that jab there. And so let's actually build from there, because we were talking about, and I want to cover today, which I will not be able to cover the mid and low in the same level of detail as this, but let's cover adding another layer to that. So and let's add the mid layer. So inhale up, exhaling down. Inhale, hook. That's what we did first. And now inhale, exhaling down. Inhale, push off the back, step the other side. And now let's do the other one. Inhaling up, dropping down, step, inhale, and then exhale, push off. Well, you may have this short little cross here. And now let's start doing a body shot. Short little cross here, dropping down, inhale. Or you can drop down, you can exhale, whichever one you want, but I'm gonna do an inhale. So I just did an exhale here. I wanna inhale and really expand. And look at this. I'm inhaling and I'm expanding. My body mechanic is as if I'm reaching my fingers through on an angle. As if I'm reaching and stretching. Reaching through the curve is what we often refer to it as here. Meaning that my arm is stretching. I'm actually stretching. This is an overt stretch. This is a reaching through the curve stretch. Meaning that I'm reaching my shoulder blade forward. I'm reaching my elbow down. I'm reaching my fingers up. All of them are reaching as if they're all jumping out of the body on a various angle. So when I'm doing that, it essentially gives me the longest and strongest range within this tight circle, this tighter circle. So I'm covering, it's almost like I'm covering more distance in a shorter span here, given that I'm reaching longer than if I wasn't reaching. If I wasn't reaching, I was just throwing this, keeping it all too tight. I may not get the full, all of my muscle fibers working together in tandem. Again, this works in my experience, and I love practicing it on bags and then playing with it in sparring. I highly recommend body-to-body sparring to train some of these stronger body shots. Boom, right around here. So let's just go inhaling up, exhale down. Inhale, step, exhale, punch, pushing up the back, and then dropping down. Inhale up. And you can dig here. You can either lift this front leg up and pivot it, or you can shift the weight forward and reach all the way through. It really depends on your style, also depends on the situation. But I want to focus on just keeping the weight solid on the front leg for this particular session. So inhaling up, exhale down, step. Inhaling high. Bring the foot in as you exhale. Look at how all this right here is adjusting. So boom, right here. And now inhale, keeping that leg here. Inhale, this is a punch to the gut. You just have the opponent covering up here. You hit him high. He was covering on this side. You hit him high again. Now he's covering up here on the side. You hit him low. And so that hitting low, if we were going to do another technique, again, it really just depends on the reality of the situation. It may work to do a low kick here. It may not, depends on, you might only be boxing, etc. Either one is totally fine. But I want to make sure I always give you quality in these training sessions. So if we were going to do this, I would want to give you a little bit more detail on bringing the Tai Chi mechanic into a Muay Thai leg kick. But we'll save that maybe for the next video. Maybe we'll do Muay Thai leg kicks with Tai Chi mechanics. That's super interesting. That's a super interesting video. Okay, so let's bring it again. Let's review. We're going to do 5 of each. First, going forward. Inhaling up, exhale down, inhaling hook, reset. Inhaling up, exhale down, inhaling hook, reset. Inhaling up, exhale down, inhaling up. It's a long hook, reset. Inhaling up, exhale down, inhaling up, reset. Long hook, inhaling up, exhale down, inhaling up, reset. And now let's do stepping off to the same side as the hook. Inhaling up, exhaling down, pulsing into the back leg, pulsing into that back leg. Step, push off that back. Look at that weight. You can see the weight. You can see the weight. My weight is on this back ball of my foot. and it's pushing off the big toe. Boom, we should feel that beautiful moment. That beautiful moment. And that beautiful moment, could feel very Tai Chi for a second. It feels very, very Tai Chi. Bring that feeling of Tai Chi into this structure, this smaller structure, the more practical structure. So, inhaling up, exhaling down, pushing off the back leg. Boom, I still feel the same openness. Look at how I'm opening my hand, spinning my hand out to cover my head even more. I'm spinning this hand out. Everything is spinning. Everything is spinning. I almost look like I'm hitting a baseball bat. Everything is spinning right here. And I step. And now inhale up, reset. Exhaling down, pushing up the back leg. Inhaling up, spinning. And reset. Inhaling up, exhale down, pushing up the back leg, step. Keep your toes pointed at the center line of your opponent. Inhaling up, reset. Inhale, exhale down, push off the back. Inhaling up, reset. Now, finally for what we did today, and we'll add the little body shot to it as well. We're going to go step off to the opposite side. So we're going the left hand, we're stepping off to the right side. So inhale up, exhale down, pushing off. So I'm coiled into this leg. It should be very easy for you to remove weight from the back leg because you're so coiled into the front, meaning the back hip softens into the lead groin and all the weight falls down the inside of that leg to the heel, not to the ball of the foot. The ball of the foot is secondary. So you go heel first, ball of the foot, big toe. So boom. Heel, ball of foot, big toe, and then step, inhaling. It looks like I'm doing a cross, but I'm actually coming around. I want to go wide and around. And then exhaling. Again, tilting, bringing the back foot forward. One, I'm exhaling like I'm going to sleep on my opponent. As I exhale, I drop the weight, punch out, and then inhale, body shot. Let's do it again. Inhale, go to sleep, exhale, step, inhale, big hook, bring it in, exhale, go to sleep, drop that hard cross, and then inhale, body shot. Again, resetting, inhale, exhale, step, inhale, exhale, bomb. Let's do it again. Boom. Inhale, exhale, step, inhale, exhale, inhale. Two more. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, step, inhale, exhale, inhale. And one more. Inhale, exhale, step, inhale, exhale, inhale. So you want to have that every time you breathe, it should feel like you're conducting an orchestra. I really mean that. And it sounds poetic and grand, and it should feel like that every time we take a breath. So let's feel, let me show how that might feel in a faster speed. So just faster speed, inhaling up, exhale, then a step. Inhaling up, exhale, down, inhale. So just really want to feel, even when you slow down, and you may notice too, when I did it faster, I did a two-stage exhalation. So, and that's because for that particular moment, that's how the breathing pattern felt right to me. So we may train certain ways, but as my coach Dan Caulfield used to say, assistant Josh Waston's right hand, he would say, you train 100%, but sometimes you can only expect 70 live. And if you get that 70, if it's strong enough, you're going to get the technique. You're going to accomplish your goal. So, and I was just talking to a buddy, one of my Harvard Wharton business school buddies, about that same concept in business. And same thing applies. Like your 70% should be strong enough for you to get to sale, to get accomplish the goal. So practice these with the breath work, the visualization. Let's stretch up. Always stretch. Always massage yourself after you do any training, even if it's just a little bit. If you finish training without stretching, I personally say you have not finished training. So always do the stretching. It will help you immensely for longevity. So 2 uplifting heavens. First, notice that before even I say uplifting heavens, the first thing I'm doing is actually going into gilded pillar. So my gilded pillar is so ingrained in me that before I do uplifting heaven, I have to get into this posture that we did in the beginning. So inhaling up. You want to join me with this last uplifting heaven?
No. When you talk about the point to push in this,
I told them some of the points.
you know what the outfit is.
Inhaling up.
Sorry, I'm showing you, but I've got to cut this down. Sorry, guys.
They're all as big as a minute. Exhaling down. Okay, feet 2 fists apart. This up. Fingers back, chest up, hips forward, weight on toes, exhale, up back. Soften the knee, inhale up. Fingers to the back, chest up, hips forward, weight on toes, exhale, up back, fingers forward. Soften the knees. Once you go down, keep the legs straight, going down, and they're not like, you don't have to be super locked, the intention, so you want to keep them as straight as possible. I'm still a little not warm enough yet, so notice that I can't touch the floor, I have to bounce to touch the floor. But once I get down here, exhale, soften the knees, inhale up. Do 1 more. Fingers back, chest up, hips forward, weight on the toes, exhale, butt back, fingers. Soften the knees, inhale up. Inhale deep, white line to the belly, put 1 foot forward, heel on the ground, toe up, exhale, wash the light down the legs. Inhale like you're bringing the white light to the belly. Exhale, wash the light down the leg. Inhaling up, white light to the belly. Now we're switching 45 degrees, meaning first we were here, now we're here. Exhale, wash the light down the legs. Inhale up, switch, 45 degrees, down the legs. Switch 90 degrees, now I'm here, meaning that 1 foot is forward, other foot is to my 90-degree side. And exhale, wash the light down the leg. Inhaling up, notice that as I come up, my foot rotates in. Notice that as I do that, my hips turn in. My waist stays fairly stationary. I'm not whipping my waist, I'm only whipping the hips, my whole body goes with it, upper body. And I turn, exhale, down the other leg. Inhaling up, front leg to belly. Inhale, right side. Inhale, left side. Exhale, down. Inhale, over the top of the head. Exhale, down. And slide up. Inside. Up and inside. The shoulders. The backs. Down. Motion of blood returns to the source. So I'm not just picking up my hands and dropping them down. And if I was just picking up my hands and dropping them down, and I felt that relaxing, that was great. But what we're actually doing here is we're in the gilded pillar posture. So let's be precise. Weight on the heels, toes forward. My hips become that bowl of water. My imaginary string lifts me up. My knees are softened. My organs are softened. And with all of that in mind, the shoulder blades going down, slight floating heart, but all the emphasis is the breath work into the belly. Now look what happens. From here, from this posture, when my fingers activate, specifically the fingertips, not even the wrists, all the attention right here on the fingertips. Just the fingertips. My breath the fingers are pulling the breath. The breath is pulling the fingers up. And exhale. The breath lowers only the fingers. Anything else that happens, you want to do your best to minimize. Meaning if your elbows start sticking out, soften up here, relax. That's unnecessary tension. You want to optimize your movement and do only utilize the tension that's necessary. That helps you conserve energy. That helps you really be mindful of what you're actually doing that's required versus what's too much. And you want that in all areas of our life. So inhaling up, just the fingertips. Exhaling down. And notice when I just started talking to you too, my weight was on the balls of my feet. Forward, So I'm in a more aggressive stance, but I shifted as I was talking, as I started doing the exercise, because I have to reset into my gilded pillar posture. It's the passive heels. Balls of the foot are active, they're more aggressive. Heel to pass, relax. Just the fingertips, not even the palms, just the fingertips. Rub the hands together. Yes, that is Cynthia Rothrock on my t-shirt. Martial arts. Action film icon. Tapping around. Massage. Floating rib up. Again. The other side, floating rib up. And up and down. Sternum. Collarbone. Chin. And for the heart, switch, top and bottom, switch, side, bottom, and reverse it. Now let's actually do the scalp. Face up the front to the side, up the front to the side, up the side, around the ears, up, over, down, under, up, over, down, under, strong pressure for the immune system. And now fingers to the scalp, front to back, back to back, back to front, really massaging, front to back, back to front. Massage, massage, massage. So important for the scalp. This one of my favorite celebrity interviews was Bradley Cooper, and someone asking him how he keeps his hair so thick and full, and he's like, "Got a massage." And you know, that's such a Tai Chi thing to say. That's not to say that is the only factor, but I do think it's really, really important to remember that the circulation in our scalps, let's start slapping, that we can augment that. And let's grab the scalp maybe like that. And not just for the purpose of vanity, I think really more so for making sure that we are consistently massaging and grabbing a part of the scalp, massaging, and then I release and grab another part. But that we're consistently massaging out tension in places where it can gather. Because you know, you may shave your head, you may have various hair patterns or lack of hair patterns on your scalp. But one of the things that I've noticed, especially when I've dealt with my own thinning hair at different points in my life due to stress, that the areas of my scalp would feel cold. I can't stress this enough of being like paying really close attention to the circulation in your head and your scalp. I would, and even to this day, I massage like I'm doing right now. I'll grab my scalp and I'll grab here. And I learned these massages from my Wustau Sifu, Keith Tong. But I massage my scalp and I really, really work the areas that might feel a little more cold, like they don't have as much circulation. But I had to pay attention. And what I noticed, other men in particular, people, I've seen it in women as well, but when I noticed other men that have had similar, like spotted, like thinning, but it's not like in a pattern, just in a particular, like random, seemingly random. I've noticed like the dealing with a lot of stress and dealing with and how that just affects, how the thinking affects the circulation in the head. So I cannot stress enough, or I cannot emphasize, let's remove the word stress, cannot emphasize enough paying attention to where you might feel the tension in your scalp, where you might feel the muscles flexing in your head, if you're dealing with anything in particular in your life that might cause that, and really the self-care to help. And if you can't get rid of those challenges and it's tough emotionally, etc., at the very least, you can give yourself a nice head massage. So At the end of the scalp massage, always going to the top of the forehead, massage around and reverse it. Temples. And reverse the circle for the temples under the eyes. And reverse the circles under the eyes. Top and bottom. Switch. Sides. Yeah. On the gums. Above the gum. In the groove. Underneath the cheekbone, above the gums. And then in the groove under the gums. On the bottom. Tongue. And reverse it. Flick the fingers out. Thumbs. 1, 2, 3, grab. All right. Let's massage the palm before we finish up. Drill. 2, 3, tap. Top and bottom massaging and sides. Top and bottom massaging and sides. Fingers falling into the natural grooves. The massaging fingers falling into natural grooves on the receiving finger. That's where you find those wonderful pressure points. And massage. Remember, these massages are helpful for all the organs. All these pressure points correspond with the organs of the body. I wish my mom would do this with me right now. But massage. Here we go. Massaging around. Top and bottom. And sides. 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 1, 2, 3. Grab 1, 2. Do one up together. Down. Inhale, wide line to the belly. Close the eyes. Spread through the whole body. Use the sound that we're going to make to go into your bone marrow. And that may sound off the cuff. What I mean is visualize, use the sound as a vehicle for your visualization. So you want to ride the sound waves into your bones. Visualize the sound waves penetrating the bones, going as deep as the bone marrow, going in and helping to correct anything that needs correction in the bone marrow, etc. So you're going to take the sound. You're going to ride the sound wave, which is a vibration. Every time you're speaking, you're making it. And you're going to ride that visually, closing your eyes, into your bone marrow as we do this final exercise. Okay, so inhale the breath into the belly. The light gathers in the belly. And you're going to push white light into the bone marrow through this sound vibration. Go. Inhale, white light, toes to the top of the head like a tidal wave coming up. And then exhale, roll it down the head, the back of the head, down the back of the body like a waterfall, head to heels. And as we exhale, we're going to say again and wash the bone marrow. We're going to inhale up the left side like a tidal wave, foot to head. And exhale down the right side with this sound. A waterfall. Inhale, right line to the belly. Push it down the legs into the ground. And then it cascades through the feet into the floor or the earth, wherever you are, and come up and around like a fountain in reverse. Let the vibration, again, you're riding the sound waves. You're paying so close attention to those sound waves that you can start to visualize whatever color you want coming out from you and collecting around you, making your environment that much brighter because of your presence. So inhale, white light to the belly and push it through the heels into the ground. And one more time, white light to the belly. This time you're gonna push it to the top of the head. It's gonna come out like a fountain in all directions and go all around you, making a big bubble around you. Very important to note that the visualization we just drew are the natural magnetic lines in the body. So it's super, super important to recognize that we want to augment and support the things that are naturally around us and do our best to become conscious of them and to optimize our experience of it as much as possible. So really feel yourself full of the white light, the environment full of the white light, have gratitude for your body, the space that you're in, the good people in your life. And I'm really, really grateful for you. I love you guys. Every week we do this, and the training it always happens on Zoom. Maybe I'll start doing, I totally forgot to stream this on TikTok. Man, next time I will. I forgot. I will stream on TikTok next week. I did it 2 weeks ago and everyone loved it. But it's on Zoom, we stream, and maybe I'll start just streaming directly to YouTube. But I think because this goes on multiple channels, maybe I'll keep it here. Maybe I'll start doing a Facebook stream too simultaneously, just so we can expand it as much as possible and get this to as many people as possible. So this is Justice for Hire's Tai Chi to the People. Happens every week, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on Tuesdays. And I'm Coach Jan. I'm the former captain and coach of the U.S. Tai Chi Push Hands team. Justice for Hire is a show we are producing with a community, a global cast, and anyone can join that cast from their phone. So you can join from justiceforhire.app, and you can just learn more about what we're doing from justiceforhire.com or at Justice for Hire on any and all social media. You can find me on my YouTube at Coach Jan's Tai Chi Push Hands. Justice for Hire, of course, is produced by my startup company, the world's first social film studio, Real World, and you can invest and own a part of the company, huge opportunity, on wefunder.com/realworld. That's REELWURLD. And you can support me and this wonderful Tai Chi collective that we have by going to patreon.com/Jan's Tai Chi. I just launched my Patreon. I'm going to put out the official video announcement of it in the coming days. But yeah, check it out. Shout out again to Sam, who's my first patron on there. So I love you guys. Ask any questions you ever might have. Share any ideas that you ever might have, because this is all about building bridges to wisdom and excellence and practicality for all of us to share. I love you guys. Talk to you soon.
My mom said bye and, best wishes for Tai Chi.
Oh, my mom said bye and best wishes with Tai Chi. I love you guys.